We want to thank you for tuning in. Coffeesations. It's the Tanya. Tell a neighbor, grab a friend. Cause every week we're going in. One, two, three, everybody let's go. Girl, I tell you, on the radio. It's your girl, I tell you, on the radio.
Hey, what's up? What's up, you guys? It's your girl, Latanya D. Walken. You're listening to today and viewing today Coffeesations with Latanya radio show, the weekend edition. It's a show where I am on every Thursday night at 7 p.m. on I Worship 96 FM radio and live here on Saturdays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Facebook. And we are always here talking about either business, relationships, ministry, family, whatever it is. There's really no conversation that's off limits. And so today I have with me live, you heard her on Thursday, but you get to see her today. Miss Monique Davis. She is the face and the voice behind the Succeed Intentionally movement. And so I want to, before we bring her on, if you have not gotten your coffee, do me a favor, go and grab your coffee, and then we'll go ahead and get this party started. Monique, welcome to the table. How are you this morning?
Hi, I am awesome. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back to the table. I am so excited to have you here. It was a joy to talk to you on Thursday night. But I just, I know it's going to be fun, live and in living color. Welcome to the table. Listen, we are still in our purpose series, and over the past couple of weeks, I have been interviewing and talking to some fabulous women. They are trailblazing the industry in their respective fields. In the ministry, they're either in ministry or the marketplace. It really doesn't matter, but they're doing great things. And today, Monique, you guys, I'm going to say something, just a little bit about her, and then I'll let her tell her own 60-second commercial. But I see her because I watch. I'm a people watcher. I'm not going to use the word warrior because that's an ugly word, but I love to watch people and to see the fascinating things that they do. And I have watched you behind the scenes, and in my opinion, if you're here, you're one of those powerhouse entrepreneurs. And so I just wanted to highlight you and your business. So tell them just a little bit more about you and this mantra, just tell them about you, and then we'll get the party started.
Well, thank you so much for having me on this really fun show where you highlight individuals with purpose. I think this is a great platform and vehicle to use to kind of speak something positive in the earth. Especially during this time. So thank you for that. Yeah. And a little bit about me, I'm a mother, I'm a wife, ordained minister. I'm also basically just someone who had a dream and believed in it. Right. I've been in the staffing and recruiting training arena for almost 10 plus years. So I own a staffing company, Fresh Talent Sources, where I train individuals on how to be recruiters, as well as partner with companies to identify some really top level talent. And I have a team of 2 individuals, and we enjoy what we do every day. I wake up every day enjoying what I do. I love training, so that's a part of me, and that led to my coaching and the movement Succeed Intentionally. So that's where that's a little bit about me. Not to take too much time, but that's it.
No, we're good. Because here's the thing you talked about is something that you love to do. And I know as a business owner myself, people think that it's easy to be in business. They think, they're going to start this business, they're going to wake up and everything is okay. But to the whole mantra of succeeding intentionally, when you start this business, you write this plan and you work the plan, what are some of the things that we have to do, right, to succeed because you're in ministry, you're a mom, you're in the marketplace. Tell us what you're doing intentionally. And I'm going to keep saying that because that is the word. We have to be intentional about it. Tell us what you're doing to be this superwoman.
I think it's balance. It's putting focus on everything that you need to put focus on at its appropriate time. There was one time in my life I felt like I put too much focus in ministry. There's another part of my life when I felt like I put too much focus in my kids. So it's having a balance and waking up every day with something to do. I always laugh about this because in a 9 to 5, it took me probably a year and a half to get out of the 9 to 5 mindset. And so when you're a small business entrepreneur, there's no one telling you, is that report done? There's no one asking you or following up on information that you are supposed to do on a day-to-day basis that helps your company run smoothly. There's no one giving you an alarm and saying, hey, you got to be here at 8 o'clock in the morning or you'll get fired. You have to be really committed and make a schedule and stick to it every single day, and you have to have help. I believe in the power of collaboration. That was one of my recent Succeed Intentionally podcasts. It's just talking about the power of collaboration and how important it is to partner with other individuals. There's so many of us who think they're entrepreneurs, but they're really just freelancers.
Come on.
And they don't necessarily have a team. They don't have anybody who's, building their dream with them because they don't trust anyone. They think somebody's going to copy their style or copy their information. That's what contracts are for. But anywho, so you just have to be in a place of, what? I know that my vision is so big that I can't do it just by myself. And
here's the thing about vision, though, too, that people don't understand, and we're going to get back to the questions, but people don't realize that when God gives you a vision, that it's a corporate vision anyway. He never gives you something that is so small that you can only do it yourself. So if he presents a vision to you, he says, write it, make it plain. Then he says, give it to people. He wants you to give it to readers and runners and those people that can take your vision and run with it.
Now.
Then you collaborate and you guys just wait on it. But it will never be something so small that only Monique or LaTanya can do it by themselves. It has to be something that touches the masses, right? And so you talk about this whole, and I heard you say that most people don't understand that they're not really business owners, because they can be entrepreneurs, but they may not be business owners because they're afraid. But I want to talk about too something that you said on Thursday that got me, and I have been thinking about it for some time. You said you were in work, in your work, and you were doing great at work, but there was a time that you felt like in the workplace you weren't received well, for lack of a better term, by everyone. And so you talked about this energy that you were giving off. And one of the ways that you found out was to do an assessment of yourself. You said a coworker had come to you, had asked a coworker about yourself, and they gave you the good, and then they gave you the however, comma. Talk about how important it is, especially in the marketplace, especially if you are a woman going up the corporate ladder, right? To do these self-assessments, whether it's in ministry or the marketplace, to ensure that you are not projecting the wrong image.
Yeah. So, well, first I want to just clarify one thing. What I said about the freelancer and entrepreneur, what I mean from an entrepreneur standpoint, when you think about entrepreneur, that's someone who runs a successful or several successful businesses, with a team, with individuals. Is never just one person. A freelancer is still self-employed. They still own a business. It's just themselves that do the work. So that's the difference there. And I I teach on that too. But my heart is for freelancers because that's what I was before I became a true business owner. So so that's that. But as far as your next question, as it relates to self-assessment, it's just like any other thing that you do. Even in the word of God, it says to check your heart, to search me and know me. You ask, asking God to search me and know me. If there's any wicked thing in me, let me know. And the thing about, corporation and business or careers, you don't have to go home with these individuals. You can leave everything at the office and come home. Some people do, some people don't. So what I believe is why I believe it's important is because just with anything that you do that's of importance, even the car that you drive, you have to continue to get it worked on. You have to continue to get it tested, right? You have to continue to get it assessed. Every year you have to do what is the emission testing. It's mandatory to do it to make sure the car is still running smoothly. And so those tough conversations, those courageous conversations that I had with individuals at my job was more so for me to make sure that I was good, because a lot of times people will feel so comfortable with talking behind your back versus coming to you and saying, hey, you seemed a little off. Is everything okay? Now, sometimes it could be their own thing, their own self, their own rejection, their own thing. You could be, I have a what is it? A certain stare, and I could just be looking, and I have nothing wrong with me, but I'm thinking about something else. I got this going on. I got that going on. I'm just thinking about it, and I'll get, are you okay? Is everything okay? So sometimes it's warranted, and then other times it's not. But either way, it's still good to communicate and ask the question. And so because a lot of people don't have the courage to do that, that's where that came from.
And I was going to say that most people don't have the courage. Most people are afraid of what you're going to say. They're afraid of the truth. I always, the words that I say often is, Lord, show me me. Because if you can show me, then I can begin to work on that. But many of us don't want to know the bad in us because we think we're so perfect. And it's funny because my mom used to always tell me, and she to this day probably still says to me, the world does not revolve around you, right? Because I always thought it revolved around me, thinking that I was Miss Perfect. She would say to me, look, you're so different. I'm paraphrasing because I'm on live. You're so different from those other two, that she had. And I told her, but that's how you raised me, but you have to get back to that place where you're asking, not just God, but yourself and others who, because you have to be able to have those people in your corner and those that are not, that can tell you the brutal truth, but it's honest and you accept it. So you've established this beautiful success movement, Succeed Intentionally. Talk about that. I want to spend some time there. Just tell, go back and just talk to the people and tell them how important it is, or whatever steps you can, for them to know that it's, how to succeed intentionally and what it really means.
Well, I always say that succeeding intentionally is not always what you think it is. It's not always success in your business or success in your career. It's all the other pertinent details that surround you that allow you to gain that success. I remember the story I told you about the pots, but there was another story where my office was just so cluttered and everything around me was just so cluttered. And I kept feeling like, why am I having these, what do you call it? These stagnant moments in my job. I show up. Why am I having these moments in my business, not my job, my business? And why can't I feel like I'm moving ahead? Why can't I do this? Why can't I do that? And I remember very clearly God just saying, declutter. Wow. Declutter. And so I began to declutter some things. I began to organize some things in my personal life, in my home, in my in my file cabinet, just different things dealing with my bills and business and everything. and not just letting it pile up. And so I began to do that. And when I did that, I found a check for $300.
Come on.
and so that was how God spoke to me.
Right.
And it won't always be a check for $300, of course, but there's something, and there's a reward in organization,
right?
Because he's of decency and order. He's not a chaos, not a confusion.
Right.
And when you have clutter around you, that's what happens. And so that is a part of the 7 powers of success. I always talk about 7 powers of success. And one of those powers is self-care and home care, right? And so home care is important to succeed intentionally. You have to be intentional in your home life, your family life. You know, my husband, in the beginning, I was definitely a workaholic. I'm not going to lie. I was obsessed with working. And I have to balance myself. I have to literally put several alarms on me to stop so that I can spend time with my husband. Because he would be like, I feel like you're married to this, you know, I feel like, you know, and so I would have to, in the beginning years, I would have to force myself to stop, go in and do this. Now, if the schedule is good, I know time that we're spending together. Right. I know time when I have with the kids, and we are able to balance that. We're finally getting into our zhuzh, you know, and that's those are just a couple of pieces, but honestly, from a step-by-step guide, I can't give you that blueprint, but I can tell you, if you can have intentionality in every single area of your life, in your family, in your business, in your career, in your influence, in your self, in your home care, and in your finances, if you can be intentional in those areas, success will find you. Yeah.
I heard someone say before, that thing which you're seeking is also seeking you. So if you're seeking success, it's seeking you too. I was in that same place with you with my very first business. And I remember my daughter saying the same thing. Mom, like, you know, you're always on the laptop, you're always on that computer, and you have to make time. And people think that is something wrong with, like you said, putting these reminders together to get you back in place. It's just a matter of success and succeeding, because what we cannot do in this is lower ourselves to success, because some of us get to a place where we lower out, not necessarily our standards, but we lower ourselves to meet success when we need to make it rise and meet us. And so we have to set that standard to this place where everything that we want is at a high peak. And I don't think that people understand that, especially and I'm gonna talk about the job market now. You know, in this industry where we are, it's very important that we raise the bar to success, because there's a pandemic out there. There is a lack of jobs out there. So when you're out there, you can't be the average person. I remember, and I'm going to talk about it really quickly, and September 11th, 2001, right before that, I had gotten laid off at HP, and it was like August 2001, I got laid off. And I remember at the time, I was they gave me a pretty name for an administrative assistant. It was a computer sales associate, but a very beautiful name, like you, the only person pretty much working from home, had the laptop, all this stuff, and managing different territories across the nation. And when I got laid off, I was the highest paid admin, because I got paid sales as well. I had a boss who knew me, who trusted me, and put me, even though I was an assistant, I sold product. And when I got laid off, I remember looking for a job. I didn't really think about it. I did not have a degree at the time. And I was making so much money that the return letter, the thank you but no thank you to me, came and said, there are people out there with 2 and 3 degrees that are not asking for as much as you're asking for at this time. And so I had to change my mentality. I had to, not necessarily my ask, right? But I had to change my mentality on how I was going to be intentional about getting a job. And so I did a 90-day plan for every job that I looked for, right? I did a 90-day plan and submitted it with my resume. I've researched your company. I wanted to succeed intentionally because I knew that I was not degreed, and there were people who had doctorates, who had master's degrees, but they were not asking for what I was asking for, and I knew I was worth it. And I ended up going to a place where they offered me 5 jobs in that one building and said, take your pick. And so to that point, with us on the peak of a pandemic, people are losing their jobs, or their jobs are at jeopardy. What you being an owner of a sourcing and recruiting company, you being the owner, the face behind the Succeed Intentionally movement, tell us what some tips, job seekers, on how they can improve, themselves and set themselves apart. Because in this era, I don't care if it's 3 degrees. You're going to have to set yourself apart so that the decision makers can see you.
Yeah, that's correct. And what a great story too, to lead into this in terms of your past and your background. I think it's essential and very important that individuals understand that just because everybody else does it doesn't mean you have to do it. Just because everybody submits a resume doesn't mean that that has to be your calling card.
Yeah.
And so, the first thing is, I would say, to build relationships. I'm trying to think of everything that I teach, but first thing first is build relationships. You want to make sure that you're building genuine relationships. Yeah. I can't tell you how many individuals I know of that aren't on LinkedIn, number one.
Yeah.
They need to be on LinkedIn. How can you be looking for a job and you're not on LinkedIn? It just doesn't even make sense to me. It just blows my mind. It blows my mind. And I'm like, okay, well, tell me about how much time in a week do you spend on Instagram or Facebook? And they'll give me this number. And I say, okay, and how much time do you spend on LinkedIn? And I say, none. And I say, okay, well, tell me, how much fruit has Instagram given you? How much fruit has Instagram yielded for you? How many job offers have you received from Instagram? Because that's the truth of it, right? Wherever your time is, that's where you're going to get the fruit. And you may not know how to do a really good selfie by staying on Instagram, but you're not going to get a job offer. Right. Okay. So just teaching individuals things like that. Also, like I said, about the genuine relationships, I get a lot of different individuals that reach out to me on LinkedIn probably every day. If I showed you my LinkedIn right now, it's filled with so many requests of, hey, how are you? I'm looking for let's just say administrative assistant position, or I'm looking for a director of talent opportunity. Can you help me? Now, someone who's new to my page, who just friend requested just jumped in, and you're already asking me for something, can you woo me? Can you take me to lunch?
Because this is a show that you can talk for real. I was just gonna say, don't treat me cheap. Please don't.
Can you do something? Can you like a post?
Right.
Can you say? Do you know what I'm doing? So for me, this is the thing. Me being in the recruiting industry for so long, I am a stickler for building genuine relationships, and I believe that genuine relationship does not mean that you talk to the person every day. Let's be clear. Okay. Some people have that confused too. But genuine relationships is basically you touching base and identifying something that you connect with,
that you have in common, right?
Or not even that you have in common. It's just something that you connect with. It could be something that you admire. Maybe it's an article that person wrote and you never thought about that in that perspective, and you write back about it and you just tell them, hey, I really love that article that you wrote about how to start this, that, and the third. And I didn't even think of all of those different things. You really, really enlightened me. Now, somebody like that touching base with me, and then after a couple of days or weeks, we have I see her like a post, I see her comment on something, and she comes and asks me, hey, by the way, I've been following you for about 6 months now, 3 months now, 3 weeks now. And I just wanted to ask you, what would you say to someone that desires to be an administrative assistant in this market? Like
Right.
how would you advise them to maneuver, or do you know anywhere or any place I could connect to in order for me to really get seen and get a position? That's how you do it.
Right.
Like that's the way you think outside of the box. And it also leads to my book, because those types of strategies are inside of my book. It's called Reverse Sourcing Job Guide. And that's what it's about. It's about reversing the whole system and not just doing the norm, because a lot of times, guys, it's a job to find a job.
It's a full-time job to find a job. Yeah.
It's not just like, okay, I hit the application button. Half the time, over 70% of individuals get lost in the ATS, which is the applicant tracking system.
Yeah.
And 70% of individuals get lost, meaning you submit your application and sometimes it doesn't even get looked at because you didn't put the right keywords. But
you didn't put the right keywords, right?
And even when you do put the right keywords, sometimes they reach their threshold of individuals that they're going to call back for the short list. So all of these things, all of these factors come to play when you're submitting an application. That's why it's important to have a coach. You know, you invest in hair weave, you invest in nails, you invest in Netflix, you invest in all of these different things. And for that same price, that if you didn't do this, if you didn't do that, and you accumulated about some minimum amount, you can hire you a career coach to help. A career coach for what you need. So. You know, I just think that individuals who really want help. Now, there's some individuals who are flat broke, 100% broke. If you are, then you need to be identifying some talent, right? Identifying the gifts that are in you and making money off of them. Yes. You know, that's my. And
I think as we're getting ready to wrap up, because I do want you to talk a little bit about the book Reverse Sourcing Guide, and because she has this book, you guys. What drew me to her was Respect the Code, and I don't know if you listened on Thursday. Respect the Code caught my eye because as a sister, you can't put out a book that say Respect the Code and then you have that on the front page of the cover of your book. So I'm gonna let her talk about it, but you're right. In looking for jobs, because there was a time that I owned a staffing company, right? But I started off as a virtual assistant. Listen to me, people. I started off as a virtual assistant. And I remember this business at the time only making about $12,000 a year. It wasn't even a full year, but I had made about $12,000. And I just happened to be in the right place at the right time. And I met a young man who said, "You're going about it all wrong. Go and get this book." And he said, "When you read the book, come back and talk to me." And when I read the book, and the book is called The E-Myth, when I read the book, that book changed the entire trajectory of my life and my business. And within less than a year, my business, I can't even know the percentage because it had went from $12,000 to six figures, double six figures in less than a year. And so we have to get to this place, and I don't say it to brag, but I say it to say that you have to get to this place, even in a time where things are just not good, that you want to, like you say, get in a place with a career coach. Because had I not sat, because this young man was younger than me, I didn't know at the time that he was the chief of staff of one of the major telecommunication companies in the world. Didn't know that. When you looked at me, because I didn't know. But had I taken that for granted, I would have never gone from this virtual assistant. So you can be an admin, people, and still make, lots of money. If you don't have the money, just like she said, you can, succeed just by becoming a virtual assistant. You can log on. It was at that time Odesk. All these, and become a freelancer. We talked about this, all these places that you can become, if you want to, but you have to get to this place where you want to succeed intentionally regardless. When you wake up in the morning on Thursday, you said, like, you got to eat, sleep, and breathe this thing. And I'm paraphrasing. You have to want it so bad that nothing will get in your way. And so, flipping back, because now that I digress, talk really quickly about the reverse sourcing guide, because I heard a piece of it, and we're over time, so we're going to just try and get through it. But the reverse sourcing guide, talk about that. Tell them, about your book. Tell them where they can find you, and all this other good stuff, y'all. Y'all need to find her.
Well, as far as the book is concerned, it's a new book. It's in pre-launch stage. Basically that means that we haven't closed the deal on which publisher we're going to use yet, but we're in pre-order stage.
Okay.
So what pre-order means is you get certain bonuses when you order now before, I believe the date is June 30th.
Yeah.
But before June 30th, if you order the book now or order it like a book club, order it for a company giveaway, company lead magnets, however you want to order these books for your audience perhaps, or even for yourself. There are certain bonuses that go along with it. So that's number one. Number two, the book is the answer. It's the answer. It's the solution. It's everything that you need in terms of what to do to get ahead of the applicant tracking process. How do I get past that application process? How do I get into the inbox of a decision maker that can say, you know what, let's bring you in for an interview.
Right.
And how can I position myself to actually find the right fit? Here's the thing, as candidates now, as talent, I call you as talent now, you guys have to understand that you have a lot of leverage. And this is your market right now, because people, recruiters, hiring managers are hungry for good talent. Okay. And so you have to utilize that to the best of your ability, meaning this: search within yourself and find out, what did I do beforehand that I hated? Right. In my previous job, what did I do that was so annoying? What did I do that I wish I never had to do again? And then what type of personalities did I just not mesh well with? What type of people or culture would I just not do well with? Is it the micromanager? Is it the worker horse? What type of personality is it? And so what you can do now is there's strategies and there's software apps and there's AI tools that can help you identify the right fit. And I teach you how to do that in the book as well. When I say right fit, I mean the people that you could see yourself growing from, learning from, and connecting with. I didn't say people that look like you. I didn't say culture fit.
Come on.
I don't believe in culture fit. Culture fit means everybody's walking around with Abercrombie and Fitch, Old Navy, and going to sit at Starbucks. That's cultural fit. Those are zombies, right? Those are individuals that talk alike, act alike, and only want to be around the same type of people. What I'm saying is, you want to be a cultural add-on. You want to be something that can add your value, your talent, your background, your experience to whatever that culture is, that corporation is. And if that corporation has a diverse, type of feel to it, that may be for you. If that company doesn't have it, it may still be for you, because you'll still be an add-on. So that's what the book is really about. It's a whole way, a full whole way on how you can penetrate the barriers that block you from getting hired in this season.
Amen. Come on, that's some good news. I didn't even know that. Listen, I knew about the applicant tracking and all that good stuff. I learned about the keywords, but you just said some stuff, we can't go in it looking for the culture fit. We can't go in looking for, and we're not even talking about for people like us, looking like us, acting like us. You have to want to go into a place where you can add value, because if you're not in a place where you can bloom and grow, and because you don't want to sit in a place where you have all of these gifts. How many of us sit in these places where we have all these beautiful gifts, but they never, they're never utilized? So you want to get to a place when you are interviewing them as well. And I think when we look at this, quit looking at it as it's a one-sided situation. When you're going to an interview, you're interviewing them as well, because I might not like you. I might not want to, I might not like the culture of your company. I may not like your mission statement. You have, when you go in and consider yourself a hot commodity, then they'll treat you as such. So listen, guys, Mo, I'm calling her Mo, but Miss Monique Davis, the Miss Succeed Intentionally herself. I'm going to let her give the closing words and let us know where she where we can find her book, I see someone on Facebook, Loving You So Much, where they're publishing where they can find your book, but let them know where they can find you, your book on Instagram and social media and all these good things.
Sure. So on Instagram, I'm the Monique Davis. And as far as finding anything about me and where our movement is moving on to, my husband and I have just started a Faith and Freelance Connection. And it's about individuals. I told you earlier that I had a heart for freelancers.
Yeah.
So that is my baby. And so what we're doing together, I'm so excited because we're doing this together, but he's a social media expert, makes six figures, has done what he needed to do in the social media game. So he's a social media digital marketing expert. He and I, as far as me being a success coach and being a business owner myself, we've collaborated efforts, and we are offering membership for individuals who are in that place of maybe they're underemployed. Or they don't understand who they are currently, and we're going to help you turn your talent into profit through our membership. It's a low-based membership, and that's why we're doing it in a group type of coaching environment. You'll get every tool, everything that you need to go from being a freelancer to being a business owner.
Come on.
And so that's what it is. It's called FF Connection, and connection is spelled with an X instead of a CT. And you guys can go to ffconnection.com. You can connect with me or my husband, Rashad Davis. And it's only $29 a month. So it's perfect for individuals.
You said this, if we can stop buying hair, if we can stop 1 month, just forego getting the nails done, forego, make your coffee at home instead of going to Starbucks. In order to succeed intentionally, you have to put some things in place, some metrics in place, some methodologies in place, some strategies in place to say, this is what and then follow them, right? Yeah. Do what you say you're gonna do, write the vision, make it really plain enough, you cannot start a business without a budget. So that's another story for another day. Make a budget and stick to it. I just asked somebody I was mentoring the other day, I said, how often do you look at your business plan? Do you have the business plan for the bank, and do you have your monthly business plan that you're looking at every month? And if you're not looking at your business plan, how do you know where you're off? So listen, guys, go and check her out. She is if you've been here this long with us, you have found in this last 30 minutes, she is a wealth of information. She is a walking Rolodex or encyclopedia of information. And I do believe that, she is trailblazing in this industry. So think it not strange that she is here at this time. Okay, if you have to go back and watch the replay, go back and watch the replay and write down the nuggets, because she dropped some. She dropped some nuggets. Find her on Facebook, all those good things. So listen, I'm going to bid her a farewell. Monique, listen, thank you so much. Thursday was good, but today was just absolutely better because the world got to see and hear you and hear everything that you were doing, because Thursday we didn't have enough time. So today we had some time for you to expound on it. So I really appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. And you're always welcome back on the table.
Amen. Thank you so much. And God bless you in every endeavor that you're doing in your life and in your family and your business. I'll see you next time.
Thank you. I receive it. Amen. Have a good one. Hey guys, listen, thank you so much for tuning in. I am especially thankful for my guest, Mrs. Monique Davis of Succeed Intentionally. It is a beautiful movement. Don't forget to connect with her on her social media platforms, Instagram and Facebook. She is the Monique Davis on Instagram, and she is Mo Davis on Facebook. If this week's edition of Coffeesations bless you, do me a favor, go and tell somebody about Coffeesations, the weekend edition, and the radio show that's on Thursdays. We air on Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're here on the weekends at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Listen, if you want to learn more about Coffeesations and how to be a guest on the show, go to my website, latanyadwalker.org. click on AP Media and click on Be a Guest, and someone from my team will be in contact with you with more information on being a guest. Last but not least, here's why I need your help. I need your support really bad. I need you because we're going to be putting more content on YouTube. So our YouTube channel is Authentic TV, but you can search for it by my name, LaTanya D. Walker. Go to YouTube and like and subscribe to my channel, and then click the little bell that will actually let you know when we put some new content out there. Be looking for us. We're going to have some training, some teaching, some good stuff, because there's more to me than meets the eye. Listen to that. And so that's all I have to say. Again, thank you so much for joining us. It's me, your girl, LaTanya. Until next week, do me a favor, be bold, be brilliant, be beautiful, be authentically you. It's your girl, LaTanya D. Walker. I'm signing out.